I do find it quite sad and also a little bit crazy, but also not unsurprising anymore, that we have to congratulate a creator for not depriving themselves of a macronutrient or depriving themselves of something edible. For so many years, the olden diet and model culture did really push carbs are bad for you or fat's going to make you fat. And actually, to this day, people still push that, unfortunately. Second time recording this video, let's see what happens. Basically, we're going to be talking about dietitian reviews Growingannanas, what I eat in a day, intuitive eating or diet culture, which is a video in which Abbey Sharp looks at Growingannanas and one of her eating videos. And I figured as part of my channel, I want to kind of spice things up a bit, diversify the content, speak about not only fitness, working out, and maybe even mental health as well, from my perspective, but also speaking about problematic behaviours and the food side of things as well, because I think they're probably quite heavily overlooked and also extremely important to discuss.
Okay. Love the eclectic options here, and I specifically like that she's not shying away from morning carbs. Well, I don't think that the average person needs to obsess over the timing of like different macros in the day.
One of the things I never understood, and I know people are going to come for me in the comment section here, so many people demonize carbs. Are carbs going to make you gain weight? Carbs are going to ruin your life. Carbs are going to make you fat. Carbs are going to make you die early. Sugar is going to kill you, all those things. I know saying that's going to upset some people, and some people may well have a problem with me saying that. No, carbs won't kill you, and no, sugar probably won't kill you either. The carbs are a macronutrient that our body may not need to survive, but can survive pretty well with. Out of carbs, fats and proteins, our body does typically tend to favour carbs for energy, and people are going to start saying, oh, it's only because you've eaten carbs and your body's adapted to that. If you deprive your body of carbs, it'll use fats and proteins for energy and you'll be happier and healthier. I really appreciate your input. I really appreciate your take there, but I've done pretty well for 29 years. I'm doing all right, and I think, you know what, carbs are important for me. I enjoy consuming carbs. They're not ruining my life, and according to my health checks, which I get every 3 to 4 months, I'm doing okay. I think I'm going to keep consuming them. There is the argument that if you do consume a lot of carbs, obviously the more carbs you consume, the more water you might hold, but water is water. At the end of the day, if you really want to lose weight or gain weight, it really is as simple as calorie deficit or calorie surplus. And if anyone says otherwise, they're probably wrong. So many people, especially influencers online, kind of focus on the value of like physical health and stuff, which is fantastic. They eat well, they train well, that's great. But at what point do you kind of identify that maybe they could be potentially sacrificing other aspects of health just to isolate physical health? So sacrificing your social health, sacrificing your mental health, because you want to make sure you eat perfectly and you train perfectly. And in doing so, you're going to sacrifice seeing your friends, getting out the house, making good memories. As someone who sacrificed a lot of my later teen years and even early 20s because I was too scared to socialise thinking it would ruin my gains, I can assure you, it does not. Although socialising more, still a rarity. I'm bigger than I was back then. I'm stronger than I was back then. I perform better than I did back then. I'm eating more flexibly. I still hit my carbs, my fats, all my good bits and bobs, but I can just do so with a bit more lenience and a bit more creativity. And also I get to see some friends and help build those relationships too. Because like I said, getting out the house, making memories is very important. And sometimes, dare I say it, making memories might be more important than building muscle.
This may or may not be disappointing to hear for a lot of you gym bunnies, but exercise is not the best way to lose weight.
That's actually kind of valid. I have spoken about this many times before about how efficient your body is. It is much easier to consume 500 calories than it is to burn 500 calories. I'm not saying don't exercise, absolutely not. What I'm simply stating is it's easier to enter a calorie deficit through eating less than it is by moving more. In an ideal world, you do both. You eat a bit less, you move a bit more, kind of find that net even point where you're not deprive yourself, where you're barely eating anything, but not moving excessively to the point where you just never stop. It's about finding that balance. In the grand scheme of things, when it comes to weight loss or weight gain even, food's going to play the biggest role there. But again, these are supplemented and aided by exercise. Obviously, exercise also has other health benefits. If you want to build muscle, you're going to need to exercise. If you want to maintain muscle, you're probably going to need to exercise as well. Things like that. The body is a very efficient machine, a very efficient tool. It will hold on to calories when you're trying to move a lot, and it will also allow you to consume a lot of calories very easily.
Honestly, it's just so refreshing to see a creator eating carbs and fats, or like not adding any pseudoscience ingredients or supplements or explanations why they do or don't eat something.
I do find it quite sad and also a little bit crazy, but also not unsurprising anymore, that we have to congratulate a creator for not depriving themselves of a macronutrient or depriving themselves of something edible. For so many years, the olden diet and model culture did really push carbs are bad for you or fat's going to make you fat. And actually, to this day, people still push that, unfortunately. Fat will not make you fat. Fat may be the most calorie dense macronutrient with 9 calories per gram, but it's not going to make you fat. Fat is very important for hormone function and so many other bits and bobs when looking at just your general health. If you reduce your fat levels too low, your hormones are going to be impacted, which then in turn may have a knock-on effect on your cycle. It can also have effect on men and their testosterone levels. So many things. Fat is very important for the body. And carbs, being a primary energy source, probably make your body move a bit nicer too, because you've obviously got a bit more juicy energy to play with. You can survive without carbs. You don't need to eat them. It's not going to ruin your life, but you can also survive pretty well with them. And if they enhance your life, then why would you want to deprive yourself of eating them? Before you know it, it's only going to be a matter of time before somebody demonizes protein beyond stating that all high protein diets are bad for your kidneys. Modern literature and modern medicine completely disagrees with that. Prime example is myself. A few years ago, they thought I had stage 3 chronic kidney disease and told me to eat less protein. So I ate more protein, but I also drank more water. And suddenly, I'm cured. My kidneys are healthy. It's wild. You probably need to hydrate better. And it really does come down to that. Having a high protein diet, it will not ruin your kidneys unless you have a family history of kidney problems, in which that could be a consideration, but I'm not stating it is. At the end of the day, you've got to eat how you need to eat. Be that for your goals, for your happiness, or just for your sustainability and health. You've got to do what's best for you and your body. It's a real shame we have to congratulate people for actually doing so, and congratulate people for not promoting toxic diet culture, as unfortunately many influencers are. Very quickly, I'm going to throw it out there. Linked down below in the description of the usual things. There's a link to download one of the TFNL workout guides, which includes massive amounts of information about fat loss, nutrition, training, building muscle, all sorts, including some workout programs themselves. So you have guides to follow. That's the glute workout guide, the upper body workout guide, the home workout guide, and the growth guide. They're all on sale down below in the description. You've also got the link to apply to work with myself, Ryder, or Beth on a one-to-one basis, in which we can help coach you towards your goals, in which you can work towards whatever you want to achieve, and we will be there along the way alongside you to help. And obviously you have contact to us directly with WhatsApp and all sorts. And you've also got the link to work with the Train Heroic training group, which costs less than your Netflix subscription and is essentially training groups where you can work out at home, at the gym, or training just like me, following a program that I've created for the group and for the community. You could talk in there, you could talk to me, you could talk to the other members of the community, and I believe you can even send footage in there if you want me to assess, and even want other people in the group to assess too. So if any of those tickle your pickle, then tickle the pickle down in the description, and let's have a gander.
Making these dangerous diet equals body connections. And this is not to embarrass or slam Anna. Like, all of us content creators are human, and we really cannot nail every piece of content every time. I also make mistakes in delivery that I regret.
So Abby previously actually spoke about how she saw Anna was body checking and maybe doing like a before and after. And I want to talk about that because it's a conversation that there is no right answer here. I can understand why someone might include before and afters, because obviously it might be to make them feel good, make it feel better, or maybe even to promote something like a service, like a coaching service, whatever it may be. But also on the other hand, I can also understand how that could be damaging for people, and could also imply that eating the way that this person is eating could lead to that results being that body transformation, when in reality that's not the case. When it comes to body checking, going to be honest with you, it's not something I would ever partake in myself, because firstly, I don't want to check my body out, and secondly, I'm sure you don't want to either. Unless I'm in the gym and I'm getting a nasty tricep pump, that might have a little cheeky look to see what's going on there. I might think to myself, oh, I'm making progress, I'm making some gains, but in reality, I just realised I'm probably lying to myself. But it's one of those things, as creators, we've got to be responsible and take care when considering who our audience is. If Anna was appealing to bodybuilders, then before and afters and maybe body checks probably aren't going to be too problematic, as there's something they would probably engage in themselves. But if Anna is appealing to people who maybe might be dealing with problematic behaviours surrounding food and eating, and maybe even their body as well, I can understand how it could be a bit more dangerous and problematic. I'm not saying that Anna's ever done anything wrong here. I'm talking about actually just in general, just creators in general. I can understand how it could be misleading, or maybe even imply that you will achieve a certain result by eating a certain way. And I can also understand how people may be triggered by it. And in the reality, I think, although it can make you feel better as a person when doing the before and afters, maybe, I don't know, they don't really make me feel better, maybe make you feel better, I can also understand how it could be damaging to your audience. So I think in that case, it's very much a question of, as the audience, doing what's best for you. If you see something that's triggering or something that might promote problematic behaviours that you might be struggling with, please don't consume that content. If the content is not helping you, but is in fact harming you, it's not worth consuming. And that applies to myself as well. If my content is harming you, don't follow me. Please don't watch it. Please don't consume it. Watching me, supporting me, although it's very appreciated, is not worth sacrificing your mental health for. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of my content is to provide benefit to people. If I can't provide benefit to you, then I'm failing, and you should not be investing into me. I can understand both sides. I think it really ultimately just depends. I think Growingannanas as a whole is a fantastic creator. I'm a big fan of her. I think her workouts for who she's targeting are bloody amazing. And I couldn't really say a lot of bad things about her. I've interacted with her a couple of times, and she seems like a genuinely lovely human, and I think she's doing some great things. Obviously, I know Abbey may have slightly differing opinions, although we do seem to align a lot on this, and I think a video regarding Abbey and her approach to things is probably necessary, because I know a lot of comments will touch on how they perceive Abbey and how they feel about Abbey, so I will address that in the future. But in the grand scheme of things, I think Growingannanas is a good egg and she's doing good things. But that's just me, and that's just my opinion. If you agree or disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. But until then, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating the fact that it's bloody boiling tonight, and thank you for tolerating the video.